Hello and welcome to my June update. In this update I'm going to show you my new project, Breatherdale TMD and Bank. So this is part of that project. It's a Haljan modern depot 8-bay maintenance shed. So I've already opened the box, so we'll go and have a look at what's in the box in a moment. But this is what I purchased. I purchased the Haljan main shed box, and I've also purchased the extension pack, so it makes the shed an extra 4 bays longer. So if you go inside the box, I've got me instruction sheet, and I've got all the clear plastic parts as well, so that's in the box at the moment. If you go through in the kitchen at the moment, so what I've done is I've got all the parts on the I've been in the washing up bowl. Ignore my washing, my bowl and my dinner, but all the parts are in, plastic parts are there. So what I need to do now is go through these, they've been washed, and just start cleaning them up. So while I'm doing that, what I'll do, I'll put you back, hand you back over to myself for a couple of weeks ago, and I'll show you what we've been doing at the club. So I'll give you a better idea of what's been going on. Okay, so welcome back. So what I've done now is I've assembled two sections, so there's 4 panels, 2 sections. You can see there's quite a big gap down there, but I'm not really concerned about that at the moment because I'm going to be using plastic card on the roof. So I'm going to use corrugated plastic card sheet on the roof. You can see it's quite a lot of glass at the front, so I don't think I'm going to have all that glass. It'd be nice so you could see inside the shed, but for me it's too much. So the plan is what I'm going to do, I'm going to use plastic card down to about there and have the window in the bottom section here. So it'll be corrugated sheet down to there, corrugated sheet up here, and then corrugated sheet here with the windows, well, the skylights at the top. The walkway is going to be maybe planking, I'm not 100% sure yet. I might use planking on that just to give it a bit more of a realistic finish. So, but again, I need to fill all these joints. Quite a lot of fillers going to be needed. And I think the other thing is I don't want to do it properly. You need to mask the clear plastic off, so you can to paint all these parts here. Now I've got it's something like six of these pieces to do. So there's going to be about 6 pieces either side on the shed. So that's a hell of a lot of masking off with just the glass panels. So that's what I'm thinking of doing, halving the job, and it will give it a bit more of a unique sort of look, a bit more individual, rather than just doing just the standard shed that comes out the box. So yeah, I'm going to order those parts from Slaters in the next couple of days, and then make a start once I got the parts come in. But like I said, I've done 2 so far, so I've still got another 10 sections. I'm going to do in pairs and then join it together afterwards. So if you have a quick look at the instructions, what you get with the kit, so it's quite basic, to be fair, the instructions. First page tells you a bit about what you get in the pack, the tools you require to build it, the glues it recommends. I'm using Tamiya Extra Thin and Tamiya glues. Construction hints. Painting, I think I'm going to be using Tamiya acrylic paints on it, and about extra detailing, so that's something I've sort of covered with the Slaters plastic card. So instruction wise, you've got 2 options in the front and rear. You can have an open section, and then you can have a closed section for the rear. I'm going to use open on both ends, so you can drive in one side and out the other end of the shed. Not decided about the front. This is showed a concertina door on the shutter. I think I'm going to do roller shutters, so again I'm going to make some changes, and again that's quite a big mass of clear plastic on the front, so again that's going to be some changes to that. Possibly keeping the clear plastic there, but I might use corrugated along the top, again to make it a bit different. I'm not going to bother with the step 2, which is the closed, but there you go, there's the instructions. So again it says to build, it says to use the glass, put the glass in as you build it, but you can actually build it like that and then fit the plastic in afterwards, the glass in afterwards. So the idea being I'm going to paint it in the sections. I can do the painting on the brickwork. Again, quite a big gap here to look at, and that's quite a big gap here to do. So in the pairs, that might pull in some degree, but I don't think it's pulling in enough. So if I build them in pairs like this, and then join them all together. The handrail I'm going to do last. I'm going to do that in like a warning yellow. It's but yeah, there's quite a lot of work to do. It's quite a nice detail on the brickwork. So again, hopefully I can. I'm going to paint that in red brick, and then I'm going to go over with the mortar course. I'm going to probably use plastic card on here, so I'm extending this piece here down the front, so it would look like an cast iron joint, so the brickwork sits in there. Again, lots of ideas just to I can feel it, but I think that's going to be a bit of a nightmare to fill, but we'll see how it goes. Lots of ideas in my head, and there you go, there's a picture of the finished shed, which I think is going to be a long way off. But keep watching, I'll get a bit more of these double sections done, and I'll show you well done later on. Okay, so welcome back. It's been about 3 weeks since my last update on the shed. The main thing I've done is, you can see it's more white now than grey, just the sheer amount of plastic card that we've added to the structure. So started off with, in the last bit you saw that we had the intersections of 2, and there's quite big gaps in places where they were joined. So by using the plastic card I managed to hide the gap, so it's all out in one piece. First thing I did was add, I cut the 7mm plastic card corrugated into 8x4 scale size panels. So I've done all the roof along here in 8x4 panels, and straight away that give it a much nicer look. I did the same on the top here, and again just made the roof sort of give it a more realistic look. This isn't probably prototypical because this is supposed to be a clear space so rainwater can run down and off the roof, but I just think it looks nicer. And again I did the trim there and a trimming on the top of the roof, So again, I think it just finishes the roof off a bit more. The next thing I did was I did this along the bottom of the windows. The windows go from here all the way down to here, but I was just concerned about being too much glass. So I've just got the skylights up here. You've got the big windows here. It would look more like a greenhouse than an engine shed or depot. So again, changing the look. So again, I didn't do these in 8x4 sheets, I just did these in strips, but I've added these sort of panel lines here to break the panels up to give individual sized panels, and it looks better. Again, probably not 100% prototypical, should be 8x4 sheets, but an 8x4 sheet there, if you imagine that's an 8x4 sheet, you know, it'd be there and there and there, and I think I've spent as much on plastic card now than I did for the shed to start with what I've done, so I ended up spending an absolute fortune, but I'm pleased with the way it looks. I did like the plastic card strut there, again, just to neaten it up and take away the joins. I could have filled them and sanded them, but I think I've got the same effect in a lot less time. One of the things I had to do is I've had to add a shimmer plastic card in there because there's quite a big gap here. So I've just put it in and filled it. Well, I filled the hole with a plastic card, and then hopefully when it's primed, it will hide anything. It won't stand out like it does at the moment, but it has been sanded, and again it looks neater. Along the brick, what I've done, I've added these little plastic card shims here. Just to again fill the gap, but it it gives the wall in a bit of more of a three-dimensional look, if I was a straight brick wall underneath the in the foundations of the shed. So again, it's just something a bit different to the what you get in the kit. So when I also mentioned asked about would I put roof fencing? Well, I have. So there's a vent there, and there's vents on the other side, and when I turn the shed upside down and look inside, you'll see the fans on the inside. Coming around to the end of the shed, again I've made some quite big changes. That piece is put in there just to strengthen the two halves of the clear plastic, but again, corner piece in. This is where the corrugated doors were, which are now being filled in. Again, I put some trim on the outside, trim all the way around the inside of the shed here. Again, that's going to be where the roller shutters are going to go. So again, it just gives it something a bit different, makes it look different, brings it away from the shed, the kit out the box. All this part here, this is not me getting glue on the clear plastic parts. What happened was when I was gluing the inside, because the ends were fixed, that's just the fumes off the super glue trying to escape, so it sort of smoked the clear plastic up. But I don't think it's going to be a major issue, because what I plan to do is I'm going to paint the ends anyway. I'm going to paint these parts to look like it's metal work, not sort of glass. Again, I don't want too much glass. It just looks plasticky, but we'll see how it looks when I get a bit closer. But yeah, I'm pleased with the end. If you go inside the shed, you can see all the roof joists I've added and fitted. Those made of plastic card. I'm really pleased with those. Again, it gives it a bit more of it gives it a better effect. But when you look inside, you can actually see the structure of the engine shed. Again, big kit, it needed that bit more detail. Double O, you probably would have got away with it, but I've seen a lot of double O layouts when people have done the extra detail, it makes a big difference. And I think with 7mm, you've got to do it. That's just me. So that's the end of the shed. The other things I've done is with the glass parts, I've painted all the ribbon in for the windows, so the panel lines, or whatever you want to call them. And when you add them, to the window. It just finish it off. It looks a bit like neater than just sort of the plastic. It takes away that plasticky look. Tempted to dip those into in like a clear coat, like something like a Cumbria clear, make the glass pop out a bit more, give it a bit more of a shiny finish. But I'm still playing with that one. I might play with that later and see what it looks. The large windows, again, I've done the same. And what I do, I'll show you how I did these in a bit. I'll come back to that in a moment. I'll show you how I did it. I've done all the skylights. The windows at the side, I'm about halfway through. I've done 10 so far, so I've got another 10 to go. So I'll show you how I do those in a moment. But again, they just fit on. Be something like, it's hard to do with one hand, but you're going to get that sort of look when it's finished, which I think looks quite smart. You can still see inside the shed, but it's not sort of again, I don't want that sort of 70s sort of style swimming pool look, greenhouse look. It's supposed to be an engine depot, so I think it looks better. But let me know what you think. I'll come back in a minute and show you how I did the skylights and the windows. Okay, so come back inside now and turn the shed over so you can see inside. So you can see the fans. So again, those will be painted. I've painted the blades, and there's lots of ideas I've got to give you like an oil wash. So hopefully the bits where they're supposed to be aren't supposed to be like the plastic's not supposed to be there. So in between the blades, so it'll be straight through to the outside. By using a black wash, hopefully that will hide the fact it is a solid piece of plastic. But again, it's something to play with. But again, you can see there's quite a bit of smoking and cloudiness from the super glue, because I have to use that much glue to get it to hold and to give it quite a solid. It is quite solid now, to be fair. But yeah, I'm pleased with it. What it desperately needs now is a coat of primer, just so the white and the white parts don't pop out as much. Once it's been painted, I think it will hide a lot of the sins. Again, a better look at the girder work in the roof. Again, I'm really pleased with that. I think it looks smart. I think it does add that extra dimension to the shed. And then you've got all the bits on the end. The inside, that's really for the shutters, when I do the roller shutters. So you won't see those pieces there. Again, doing the same. So these doors are going to be fully open. This door I'm going to have one side closed and one side open. But I'll show you how I'm doing the shutters in a bit. But yeah, I'm really pleased so far. Next thing now is to get it into get the primer coat on, and then I can check for anywhere that needs to fill in, any work that needs to be done. And then we'll go from there. Okay, so there's a skylight. So I don't know how long I'm about to show this with, because I'm right-handed, I'm holding the camera with my left, but basically all you do is get the skylight like that. Get some Tamiya tape, and run the Tamiya tape along the edge of the window there, like so. So you got one straight edge, and rub the tape in to the actual window itself. But this isn't the neatest job I've ever done, but just I can tidy it up anyway. So you run the tape around the edge of the panels, covering the glass in like so. I'm going to have to swap over because I can't use a knife left-handed. Okay, so once you've done that, it's then a case of running the blade along the edge of the panel there. Same on this side. taking the ends off there at both ends, doing the same at this side here, and then just in case, once you've run the blade around, carefully peel it back, and then what you're left then is the because it's a raised section, you're left with the masking tape or the Tamiya tape in the over the glass, and then that part there is exposed so you can paint it. Obviously that's sort of a very rushed job. If you take your time with it, you get a much neater finish, but again, just to show you what you can do. And then what I do now, I'll take you to the spray booth and I'll show you where how I paint the panels. Okay, so there's the completed skylight. I've also got some more windows. I've got 6 I've started to paint, so I'll show you what I'll work on this one mainly to show you what I'm doing and how I do it. So there's my airbrush, just an Iwata Neo. It's only a cheap airbrush, but it's a decent quality airbrush. I do want to upgrade this eventually, but it's given me a good start. I think the airbrush is about 55 pounds, so it's not the cheapest on the market. You get one for about £6, but I found the really cheap ones tend to clog up a lot. Paying a bit more money, it's got me a much better airbrush, and you can tell the difference. Okay, so how do I paint these panels? Again, trying to work left-handed. Obviously, what I might do is turn the camera off a second. I put paint in the airbrush, and I'll just explain to you what I've done and how I've done it, because I can't work left-handed and right-handed. So I'll come back to you in a sec. Okay, so back to my airbrush. So what I've done, I've used a mixture of Tamiya 28 thinners, which is an acrylic thinner, and Tamiya XF66 light grey. So in the colour cup I've got approximately 50-50 mix of paint and thinners. So that little pot of paint will go quite a long way with the thinners in. And it's a nice paint. It airbrushes really well. You can airbrush it straight out the tin, or you can thin it, which I tend to do. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give the panel a very light misting of paint. I don't want to flood the panels, so I just want to get the paint onto the plastic. Like I said, really light coats. Spin it around, go back in again. Spinning acrylic paint, it dries fairly quick because it's only really light mist coats. Again, it should dry fairly quickly. And again, once you've got a coat, you know, your mist coat on, you can go a bit heavier with the coats paint. But yeah, imagine doing this with a paintbrush. I'll be here forever doing this. So with an airbrush, you obviously can get quite a lot more done quite quick. And I've hardly used any paint. The main thing with an airbrush is just to keep the airbrush moving. Don't sort of stay in one place, and don't let the if it starts to look wet, move away, move to somewhere else. Okay, so come back to this one. Okay, and again, already you can see I'm getting quite really good coverage. Paint goes down ever so well, looks nice and neat, tidy, and again the job done fairly quickly. You know, I managed to paint sort of 6 panels in a space of about a minute. Okay, I've just got through the colour cup, so what I'm going to do is refill the colour cup, carry on painting because you don't want to sit here watching me paint, and I'll show you what happens next. Okay, so here's now the finished, well, near enough finished shed, but it's about as much as I'm going to do for now. It's pretty much painted. I've added all the detail I want to add. I've started to weather it, but I'm going to leave the weathering now until it's actually on the layout before I do any more. So to give you an idea of what I've done, I've added corrugated sections to the roof, a corrugated section here. This is a corrugated section with the air vents in. Added the handrail. This is supposed to be the like a tread pattern on the walkway, so it's non-slip. Really health and safety thing. Added all the windows, so I added windows. All these have been masked off individually, so I could paint, spray the panels, the windows. I'm leaving the top roof of the windows fairly clean, so obviously the water will run down there. But what I have done is I've the windows at the side, I've used a mixture of oil paints. So there's the oil paints I've used. So I've got a black, I've used like a burnt sienna and raw umber, and I mix that with those with Phoenix precision thinners to make like a oil wash. So I've let that run into the gaps. I've used it to run down the roof panels down the sides. I've used a big brush to sort of rub to manipulate the oils where they are, so it's sort of feathered up and along the roof. I've come down the side, so again it's giving that sort of streaky effect where the dirt's run down the windows. Again, gone on the bottom. With the brickwork, I sprayed it with Tamiya red brick, and then gone over with Woodland Scenics concrete colour for the mortar, so that gives quite a nice effect. So I'm really pleased with this. Things like the guttering I'm going to add once it's in the situation, because delicate things like that will break off. It's quite a big structure. It's not easy to move, especially now the windows are in, so I've got nowhere to hold it. So I'm going to get this to the club, get it on the layout in the next couple of weeks, and I'll film it on the layout so you can see it in situation. Once it's fixed in place, sort of permanent fix, I'll then look at adding the final detail in position, because then it's not going to be a case of moving it around. The handrails are the guardrail painted in yellow, and if you come around to the front of the shed, again I've done the same. So that was all clear plastic before, if you remember, so this is now sort of been painted in, so I think it looks better in the grey than it did in the clear plastic. Painted the doors blue, the same colour as the works office, and what I've used is 4mm plastic card for the roller shutters, so you can see those sort of wasp stripes on them, so it's yellow and black stripes. If you get inside, hopefully you can see inside where the or the structure of the shed is, or the roof structure. And again, you can see where at the back, you can see I've got one of the roller shutters fully down, and the other is open, like at the front. But I think it looks quite nice. I'm quite pleased with the way it's come out. Looks quite. I'm pleased. Again, down the other side. So the structure is about 2.5 foot long, so it should be big enough to take 4 locos. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a loco in the front now, just so you get an idea of the size with the loco in place. So I'll come back to you in a second. Yeah, so there's 25 sat in the front of the shed. Obviously there's no tracks down, no rails, so you'll get a better idea once the rails inside a concrete base. But you can see there's a nice, the shutters above the loco, but you've got plenty of space to get in and out, and hopefully you can still see the detail. The 25 is, it's not the biggest loco, but it gives you a good idea of the size of the shed. But it's sticking out slightly, but it comes to about there. So I've still got all that room behind it. There you go. That gives you a better idea of the size of the shed. So they could quite easily get sort of like a class 50 or class 37 behind that and still have the 25 in. And there you go, there's the 08. So again, you know, the 08's sort of 3 side panel sizes, so you've got another one there, another one there, and still a bit there. So it is a big structure, it's quite a big shed. So that's what I've been up to with the shed. I get this off the workbench, and I get the wash pans on in the office, so you can have a look at that and what I've done with that. Okay, so we now have the works office. So you can see sandstone technique as I used with the shed. So it's basically Tamiya brick red, red brown I think it's called. Again, paint sprayed on with airbrush. Then I went over with the concrete, painted it, let it to dry, and then rubbed it off with a very light sander or a Q-tip, cotton bud, and just left the you know, the concrete paint inside the gaps in the grooves between the bricks. The roof was again mixed with Tamiya, different Tamiya colour grey paints, sprayed, went over with different colours, some dry brushing, used a wash on it, just so it picks out all the details. Well, I need to put a wash on it just to pick out the details. So again, I might use the oil wash on it, or I might use my Flory dark dirt wash, which again, that gives a really nice effect. So I'll get that on there and I'll show you how to do it with the wash. Again, painted the same blue as the barge boards as the engine shed. Okay, so what I've done, all I've done is painted on the dark dirt wash with a paintbrush. I'm going to leave it now. It's a bit shiny, a bit glossy, but you can see it's just the whole of the roof is covered in the wash. So I'm going to leave that to dry off for about 15-20 minutes. Then I'll come back and I'll show you what I do with it next. Okay, so that's the sort of effect I'm looking for. So all I did was I got my Q-tip or cotton bud, wet it, then rub it onto my arm, just take a lot of the moisture away, and then the idea then is just to run the cotton bud down the roof, following the way in which way water would run, which is down, and you're just running it down the roof, taking off the wash, dark dirt wash, and hopefully it sinks into the gaps. I'm more right-handed than left, so again it's just a case of working it down. Try to keep my hand out of the way, but you can see the there you go. So it takes, you know, a few minutes work. It's quite a nice effect. So he's leaving the bits, you know, it's leaving the good lines, marks in the in between the tiles. It looks like it, you know, it's just dirt. It's what you want really. I do the same on this side. So again, clean cotton bud. Get some moisture on, and again, just direction of travel of the water, where the water would flow, dirt would flow. There you go, and that's the finished effect. So it's quite nice. Again, I can do some more weathering with this once it's on the layout and in position. Yeah, pleased with that. Okay, and there's the wash pans. So that's what with that all I've done is, again, it's a resin kit, so it's been sprayed. So I've used again Tamiya paints to paint it. So it's all acrylic paints, and to get this sort of effect on the top of here, so it looks like it's been walked on, rubbed. I use a dark iron Mr. Hobby metallizers, and then I've dry brushed it, picked out the so get like a bit of a shine on the dark iron, and then I've gone over with the silver, again dry brushing, just to pick out some of the raised sections. I've still got the handrails to go on this, but yeah, I'm pleased with this. It looks quite good. Again, the idea with this is once it goes onto the boards with the track down, I'll be weathered, and I'm going to use water effects on the inside, especially around the track, so to show the moisture and the dampness, obviously where the locos have been washed, because obviously you get pools of water there. But yeah, pleased with this nice kit, goes together quite well.